Well, we've got a lot to talk about. This has been quite a 48-hour cycle for you, for the Prime Minister, and for President Trump. And we were listening to your words yesterday. We've been covering this very closely here, as you would imagine, at Bloomberg, with the resulting dollar-for-dollar tariffs that kicked in today, or at least were announced today to kick in on the 8th of September. You've had quite a war of words here with the President of the United States. You called him a bully, the king of bankruptcies, a loser. And you said, I've dealt with guys like you my whole life. Premier, what kind of guys are that?
Well, I think things got a little heated, Joe, yesterday between both of us. He was throwing insults. He's not shy to throw insults to anyone. And I hit back. But I think it'd be more productive if we actually sit down and the Prime Minister and the President sit down and have a fair deal for everyone. Because right now there's not certainty in either country. There's not stability. I talked to a lot of governors and senators and Congress people. They need certainty. Their constituents need certainty. And the way you do it is by signing a fair trade deal. And I told the Prime Minister, no deal is better than a bad deal. And we have to go tariff for tariff and dollar for dollar. And it's unfortunate. We had an attack from President Trump on our sovereignty, on our country, on the economy, that we're so integrated. Both countries were both each other's number one customer, and it just doesn't make sense to attack each other.
Well, we understand Ontario is disproportionately impacted by these tariffs when you look across the country of Canada. Will you move, if this is the direction we're going in, to cut off electricity to the United States as you threaten?
Well, I wouldn't say cut it off, but surcharges for sure. It doesn't make sense to the Ontario people that when we're under attack economically, that we'd be sending electricity down to companies and residents to keep their power going. I have an idea, Joe. I'd like to send more electricity down there. I'd like to create Fortress North America and keep an eye on people that may not see eye to eye with both countries, like China and Russia. But right now, it seems like the president's treating communist China better than his closest friend and ally for over 200 years. It's not productive. And a tariff on Canada is nothing more than a tax on the American people. And we've seen that. They're going to be paying thousands of dollars more in cost. The president ran on reducing unemployment, and it's actually, you lost jobs last month. We gained 52,000 in Ontario alone, 120,000 in 4 months. We're diversifying our trade, and once that train leaves the station, and we're dealing with other countries around the world, which we've seen increases of 100, 150% of new trade, it's hard to turn that train around. So we're going to continue working with the administration, and I'm confident the Prime Minister and the President, hopefully President will come to their senses and actually make a fair deal.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been watching the President's Truth Social feed, as I am sure you have. He's been saying a lot, posting a lot about Canada, including this one. The U.S. is giving serious consideration, he says, to changing the name of Lake Ontario to Lake America, in that we don't expect to be doing much business with Ontario much longer. How much of this is serious, Premier? How much of this is chest thumping around the negotiating table that will actually end up in a deal?
Well, something, that's up to the president if he wants to change Lake Ontario to Lake America. I know Canadians, we're always going to call it Lake Ontario, but that's a lot of rhetoric again. And he's saying he won't do a lot of business with Ontario. Well, let me remind the president, 9 million Americans wake up every single morning to produce a product, a widget, or a service for Ontario. If we were a standalone country, which I never recommend, we'd be your third largest trading partner in the world, Ontario alone. Canada is your number one customer. Ontario is a number one customer to 15 states and number two to 12 others. So it would really, really affect a lot of states. I'll give you an example, Joe. Already the auto sector has been hit by $110 billion. That's $110 billion. And I feel for the auto workers in Ontario. But I also, because I love the Americans, I love the U.S., I think about the workers in Texas and Kentucky and Michigan and Illinois and Ohio that are going to lose their job because we buy 400% more vehicles than anywhere else in the entire world. And so it's going to be unfortunate if we go down this road.
Bring us inside to the extent that you can. What happened on Saturday night? There was a lot of ink spilled in the days before this to suggest that a deal was at hand. We know things fell apart at the 11th hour. There has been reporting that Howard Lutnick might have been the one who pulled the plug on things. Who are you looking at on the other side of the table who is walking away from the table?
Well, what happened, I mentioned, we're the engine of Canada. Ontario is, and I told the Prime Minister, this is an absolute terrible deal. It's a terrible deal for auto sectors, for steel workers, for manufacturing.
But did the terms of that deal change at the last minute? We understand that there was some real miscommunication on the way these messages were sent.
It was, what I understand, they kept changing the goalpost constantly right up to the last minute. And you can't negotiate when you change the goalpost in the last minute. You have to have trust and faith in your partner.
Do you have trust and faith in Howard Lutnick?
Well, Howard is a shrewd operator, and I've talked to him a few times. He's trying to protect the United States, and the best way to protect the United States is make a deal. Make in the auto sector, I always say, you can't unscramble an egg that's been around since the 1960s, the auto pack. You have to make the omelet larger. And when we see Chinese vehicles coming in, that's really challenging for auto workers in the U.S. and in Canada. There's one way to fix this, just like Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan never believed in tariffs. He believed in making sure that he created an environment and conditions for Americans to have more jobs, more exports, more trade around the world. And unfortunately, President Trump has taken a different avenue that just does not work. It's going to cost Americans thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's unfortunate. So we're the number one customer when it comes to steel and aluminum and oil, 4.1 million barrels of oil, and potash that takes care of your agricultural sector, high-grade nickel. I could just keep listing it off, and it's gonna hurt the American people. I love the American people. I love the U.S. Unfortunately, we've been put in this position when you attack our sovereignty and call us a 51st state and call the Prime Minister a governor. It's unfortunate, right. But that's who we're dealing with, and we'll get through it. And hopefully the American people will see this, voice their opinion, and we'll see what happens in the midterms.
Well, speaking of what Canada buys, you buy a lot of booze as well, and American booze has not been on the shelves in Ontario since March of 2025, which I know was your decision at the time, and there have been questions about what it might take to get it back. Would that need to be a full deal with Canada?
I've said over and over again, Joe, you get a full deal, that booze is coming back on the shelves. It's really symbolic. It's about $1 billion compared to the auto sector, and the steel is worth over $100 billion. So, I'd put the booze back on the shelves and in a heartbeat if we had a fair deal. And I've been saying that over and over again. This does not work. We buy more agriculture products than actually we're tied in with Mexico about $30 billion each. So there's a lot of things at play right now that just hurts two closest friends and two closest allies. I've been getting a lot of calls from the governors and senators and Congress people saying this is terrible what's happening between our friendship and our two great countries.
I'm struck by the tone of this whole conversation, Premier, and I know sometimes things get out of hand, and you were feeling hot yesterday, and so was the president. But I'm hearing a real conciliatory tone after all the fire yesterday. Did something happen overnight? Did you get a phone call, or did you just wake up feeling that way?
No, something. I love America, and I love the U.S., and I'm thinking this is crazy. I spent 20 years of my life in the U.S., and I'm thinking, the President Trump has put two great countries in a position that we're fighting right now, and it's just not worth it. It got heated yesterday, but let's move on. That's all part of going back and forth, but it got carried away, and I'm not innocent by any means, but I'm going to take a different approach. I'm going to move forward. I never got any calls from anyone. I just want to get a deal made. When I'm hearing from the American public, I give my phone number out publicly. It's on the internet. I get a lot of calls from the U.S., but I got a lot of calls from elected officials down in the U.S. So let's just make a deal. Let's make this happen. Let's get both countries to prosper and grow and create jobs and stability and certainty. That's what we need. No one wins in a trade war.
What are the odds we see you at the White House for a beer summit with President Trump when this is all, well, I guess not a beer summit, maybe a poutine summit, Premier?
Yeah, well, neither of us drink, so I don't know. This falls under the Prime Minister. They'll make that deal. And let's hope one day that the Prime Minister can sit down and maybe have a poutine, a beer, whatever it is, and sort this all out, because it's really disappointing right now being attacked by President Trump, because it just hurts the American people. That's all this is doing. We'll get through it. Both countries will get through it, but it's not going to be good. It's going to hurt the American people.